Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a fantastic Friday and a great week so far. The weekend is upon us. Today, we're going to be diving into Cardano. I'm back. Apologies for not making a video yesterday. I was traveling back here, so I just thought instead of kind of rushing things, I'd rather wait a day and kind of get a video out for you that wasn't so rushed. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We've got lots to be getting into. We're going to be diving into this article that potentially sets out the goal for Cardano in capturing 1.3 billion users within the continent of Africa. We've got lots to get into. We're going to be diving into this poll that Vitalik posted on Twitter. Very interesting results because ADA seems to be the leader over BTC, USD, and SOL. Very telling. And this is one of the strong features that Cardano has. You guys, me, the community, we're in this together. We believe in this technology and the direction that it's going in. And that also ties in with the kind of Africa adoption strategy that Cardano have implemented. And this is just one of many strategies that Cardano has. We're going to be diving into this tweet from Charles that says, who wants to be projects 200? I think that's supposed to say who wants to see, but it goes into the fact that you've got nearly 200 projects building on top of Cardano. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you have one operational DApp, one operational DEX. Does anybody have any idea? And I'm asking you guys this question. I personally have my own opinions. What happens to the price of ADA when those 200 dApps are functional? My guess is, and this is not financial advice, it's going to be significantly higher than where it currently is today. That's an investment that I'm personally willing to take. That's a bet that I'm personally willing to take. What you guys decide to do is totally up to you. But ultimately, I'm not worried. I think Cardano and crypto as a whole has a very, very bright future. We're going to be talking about that, looking at the overall market. Market's a little bit slumpy. Remember, guys, we've got this huge deflationary headwind coming from the Federal Reserve, talking about interest rate hikes, which typically sees people risk off in terms of investing. And crypto is still a very risky and speculative market. So we've got all that to deal with. You're seeing the dollar see a little bit of a resurgence, certainly after the CPI. Apologies for not bringing out a daily cryptocurrency market update. We'll be back to that tomorrow. Lots going on. I'm very busy personally. With a number of things that I've kind of got prepared for you guys. So we will be back doing that tomorrow. So remember, you've got this kind of macro headwind. This, of course, plays most heavily on Bitcoin's shoulders, which, of course, affects the entire market. And that's what we're seeing, volatility on the back end of that. But ultimately, you guys know that I think Bitcoin is going to continue to climb. We're going to go on to make new all-time highs. And the rest of the crypto market is going to follow. And I think if Bitcoin does okay, Cardano, given the fundamentals that are about to get realized, in the sense that we've got all these dApps turning on, we're already seeing it with muesli swap value get eaten up. Brilliant podcast from Learning Cardano, by the way, with muesli swap. Well worth a watch. You can go just type in Learning Cardano and it will come up. We're already seeing, this is a taste of what's to come. And this is one, I wouldn't say insignificant, but small DEX when we've got Goliath-like Sunday swap launching very soon, which is going to see a huge amount of ADA eaten into it. What else are we going to talk about? This is a number of things. Number of time lock scripts in the last 30 days. The fundamentals for Cardano on a protocol level, day by day, get stronger and stronger, ladies and gentlemen. There was also something else. I'll quickly scroll through my Twitter. And it was to do with this. We're experiencing a lot of activity on our chain. We're only just behind Ethereum, given how long Ethereum's been here for. And remember, we showed you that grayscale article that suggests Cardano is undervalued in comparison with Ethereum. We're catching up. And one of the huge drivers for that is Ethereum shortfallings. So let's get into it all. We're also going to talk about some of the DeFi opportunities that are about to present themselves. Let's get into it. Let's start with this tweet from Vitalik. Poll for Ethereum community. You wake up in 2035 and 80% of all transactions plus savings in the world are in one cryptocurrency that is not ETH. Which would you prefer it to be? And Cardano is winning by a landslide. Of course, Bitcoin isn't. Bitcoin is very close behind. And the USD, I don't know who on earth voted for the US dollar. I don't know why you're in crypto if that's your option. and of course Solana's sort of trailing behind. I would not put my life savings on the Solana blockchain just because you don't know when it's going to turn off or on, and who's going to be behind that and what kind of... Anyway, we're not going to get into bashing Solana. Solana are in some ways impressive. Their TPS is fantastic, but we know that they've traded off decentralization for scalability, which is part of the kind of triangle that makes up a blockchain. But Cardano is a clear winner, so that's very interesting, especially from a tweet from Vitalik showing that. A competitor, our main competitor, and we've always said this, Cardano is the ultimate competitor for Ethereum. And I actually think in terms of from a user's point of view, from a retail point of view, a customer service point of view, Cardano is actually going to shine brighter because it's going to be cheaper, faster, and more user-friendly, in my opinion. You know, you're not going to have to pay $200 every time you want to transact something. That's a lot of money for some people, and it kills off a whole sector of retail that can't use DeFi and interact with it. I've had some horror stories in regards to gas fees. So that's very interesting, something to share with you. And like I say, that's a real weapon that Cardano has, is its community. And we've spoken about that previously. And this is talking about the 200 Dapps. The reason that I bring this up, Tim Harrison essentially tweeted this, just a sort of summary of what's happening. Project's building on Cardano. Project launched in Q1 2020, and calls held today, calls in the calendar, so on. And this is going to be spoke about more in their kind of mid-month update, the IOHK mid-month update. So that'll come out around about the same time as this, so we'll catch up with that tomorrow. Just certainly worth mentioning. And like I say, what do you think happens to the price of Cardano, which currently really has one DEX on it? Certainly in the DeFi side of things, when we have all those projects come online. I would argue, and this is not financial advice, that the price is going to be significantly higher by that point. And that's without anything else that's taking place. The next thing that I want to share, this was a tweet. Of course, this is to do with a number of scripts. This was a tweet from Input Output, and it's talking about what does a thriving ecosystem look like with 100 plus Dapps already under active development. This is from Liquid, talking about some of the ways that you're going to be able to farm yield. 4x ADA yield streams. ADA staking, so we've already spoke about this in great detail, the fact that you can interact with DeFi via connecting your wallet whilst your ADA remains staked, so you're still getting that 5% interest on it. That's without some of the yields that these DeFi protocols offer. And that's part of Cardano's design. That's part of the staking, Ouroboros, essentially the staking mechanism. This is huge. I don't know any other chains that do this. People are largely underlooking this. Brings me on to my next article. Cardano to launch DeFi loan service in Africa next year to foster crypto adoption for over 1.3 billion people on the continent. Cardano it's one of the most strategic strategic moves I've ever seen a blockchain make is go after Africa, because who are the real beneficiaries of DeFi? In the Western world, we have financial systems. Yes, they're a bad deal in many of the cases, and they enrich the people that we really don't want getting any more enriched than they already are. However, they're still there. They're relatively cheap. But in places like Africa, to get a loan or to send money, it's extortionate. And DeFi solves this issue. They're the real beneficiaries. And not only that, this is where we're starting to see technology change people's lives. And Cardano is at the forefront of that, certainly in the blockchain revolution. And we are in a revolution, ladies and gentlemen. We're still early within that. So I'm very, very excited. And it's important for me to make videos like this. I've been bullish on Cardano whilst the price action has looked like this. There's a reason for it. I'm very much sticking my neck on the line here, making videos every day telling you how bullish I am on ADA whilst the price continues to sell off. One thing that I really want to highlight, I'm going to highlight it again, ladies and gents, is what actually determines the price, how a price is set, because people don't understand this. And I would absolutely argue, by the way, if you're not already following me on Twitter, guys, head over to @RealAllInCrypto. Well worth a follow. I post multiple tweets daily on various different things involving the crypto space. But we essentially were tweeting about the fact that a very small amount of people dictate the Cardano price, and a very small amount of ADA also determines the price. If you understand this, if you understand how the financial systems work around the world, certainly the one that you're involved in as a citizen of a country, you will be far, far better off. Because if you understand the rules of the game you're playing, you're going to play it even better. And this is why we stress this. The price essentially is determined by what's traded back and forth on an exchange within that day, the liquid supply. That determines the price for the rest of the supply. And we've often said, Well, if 73% staked and not being traded, that must leave, even if you took 27% of the stuff that isn't staked and you were trading that, which would be a significant proportion of it, that would still be an unfair representation of value for the overall supply. It's an even smaller percent. I would maybe estimate that supply trading back and forth on exchanges at a push is probably 5% of the overall supply. At a huge push, it's probably more like 2-3% max. That dictates the price for the rest of the asset. And it's essentially dictated on that day. So when buy pressure overwhelms sell pressure, the price moves up. And vice versa. When sell pressure overwhelms buy pressure, the price moves down. So a practical example of this, which I was highlighting here, a practical example, if 100 of us hold ADA, 10 tokens each, but only 3 of us are trading on an exchange, 30 ADA sets the price for 970. So if you have 1,000 tokens and we all have, between 100 people and we all have 10 tokens each, and only 3 people decide to trade, essentially the price is set and they all trade the whole ADA. They've got the 10 ADA. 30 ADA and 3 people dictate 97 people's 970 Cardano, if that makes sense. So price is often a very full representation of value. There's a lot of unrealized value here with Cardano, and this is what we're trying to highlight to you. And what do you think it looks like? We've spoken about the Dapps and them turning online. What do you think 200 Dapps on ADA running and all getting farmed and used and interacting with the protocol? What do you think that does for the price? What do you think it does for the price when you have 1.3 billion people using ADA as a base layer, having to interact with it, having to own Cardano? You know, that short-term buy and sell pressure that's traded back on a daily basis that determines the price at a sort of margin level. You can't, there's no sell pressure that can overwhelm that really. And when you get a huge influx of people, and we've also, this correlates with, we looked at the Google Trends and how we're pretty much a low for Google Trends. It looks very much like the Cardano price chart. You know, the Google Trends look something like this. So a huge increase, sell off, higher increase, selling off again, down to a low. And your Google Trends are sort of here. What do you think happens when everybody comes back? That's why we see the price move up, because you've got your sell pressure that remains somewhat constant, but certainly in time periods of low volatility or low volume, overwhelms the buy pressure. But when you get a huge increase of buy pressure, what do you think happens? The sell pressure can't overwhelm it, and that's when you see these big moves like we've seen over here. Now, what caused this? Well, the run up to the Alonzo hard fork. That's a practical example. So I hope I'm teaching you guys a little bit of how markets work. I'm sad enough to have learnt it, but I would argue that each and every one of you need to take it upon yourselves to learn how finance works and how markets work. Certainly if you have any kind of a vision of staying in these markets for a long period of time. Because if you understand the game that you're playing, you'll play the game a lot better. It's like chess. If you don't know the rules, somebody like myself, who is very into chess, will wipe the floor with you, because I'll know what you can and can't do, and what is what. So that's me rambling on a little bit. Just some very interesting things to show. I found this poll very interesting. Some people may not see the significance. It's hugely significant, guys. You know, the community is something you can't buy. We've seen that with Solana. I know that I do bash Solana a little bit. Why is that? To ramble on a little bit more. It's done very well in terms of price. Is there an element of me being a little bit bitter about the fact that it has a higher market cap and has done better than Cardano? Potentially. But one main reason is the fact that I know how many VCs are involved in this coin. And I know that they've played a fundamental role in getting it to where it is today. Whereas something like Cardano hasn't had anywhere near those VCs, was a third crypto in terms of market cap at one point, and has largely been community driven. And I think in terms of blockchain and what it's trying to do, that counts for a lot more than something that's been largely backed by rich people, already have a lot of money. Whereas, you know, Cardano is really for the people. And that's one thing I love about it. And we're seeing that with their kind of goals and missions within Africa, the continent of Africa, certainly. They're already embedded in some of the countries within Africa. Some of those countries are having a little bit of turmoil. Ethiopia's kind of, you know, it's in terms of stability anyway. It's not the stablest country, but you never know. ADA may contribute to a bit of stability across that country. So that's really all I have for you in the video, guys. It was just a catch up. Apologies again for not making a video yesterday. One thing I want to say before I wrap things up, this is the all-in pool. This is the all-in crypto official stake pool for Cardano. We have 1.6 million Cardano staked to us and over 141 delegators. Massive thank you, guys. This is a dream of mine to become a Cardano stake pool operator and have an active role in running and maintaining the network and helping to decentralize it. And that's what we're doing. 1.6 million ADA means that there'll be payouts pretty much every single epoch. We won't miss an epoch typically. That means that we're going to be giving constant, consistent rewards now. And that comes into effect. We're 2 epochs behind, I believe. So that will come into effect next epoch. So we should be minting blocks every single epoch from there on out. So a massive thank you. Huge thank you to everybody that's stuck with the pool. It's always a little bit turbulent starting a new pool, but you guys have hung in there, stuck with it, and that means the world to me, guys. So massive thank you. Hello to all our new delegators. And I look forward to having you all with us on this journey. I'm going to wrap things up, guys. There's a link to the Discord in the description. Remember, head over to my Twitter, @RealAllInCrypto is the ticker. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next YouTube video. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen.